Okay students, so today we are going to learn industries chapter. So here, before going to main discussion, let us see what we will be discussing from this chapter, industry, an important chapter. Okay, so let us see what we will be discussing from this chapter. So firstly we will see the definition of industry. What is basically definition of industry? Thereafter, types of industry based on different sources or other parts factors. We will be coming to them in detail and discuss them in detail. Types of industry, we will be see factors for establishment of industry. Of an industry. After factor, industrial system. And industrial safety. Okay, so starting with definition of industry. So industry is basically producing human products with raw materials. In resource, we learned that natural resources are basically raw materials. We get them, they are of not so value with just having raw material, but if we use our technology, skill and power, we will be able to get our desired product. So basically industry comes to handy in this case. So definition of industry is basically producing human products with raw materials. So now there are different types of industry, and industries are classified into different ways. So based on industries are classified into different ways. So now we are going to learn about some important industries classification based on raw materials, ownership and size. So based on raw materials, industries are classified into two types: agro-based industry and mineral-based industry. Agro-based industry are what? Agro-based industries are basically, example of agro-based industries are jute, textile, cotton textile. They are example of agro-based industry. I will be saying in detail. Before going to that, I just give you example of mineral-based industry. Steel industry. Okay, so another from mineral-based steel and agro, jute and cotton. So what are agro-based industry? Agro-based industries are which use raw materials from plants and animals. So they are known as agro-based industry. Industries which raw materials from plants and animals, basically their sources are plants and animals, they are known as agro-based industry. On the other hand, mineral industries are industries which use mineral as their raw materials, like iron ore or bauxite ore. They are mineral as their raw materials. Okay, so we learned that industry is basically producing human products with raw materials. Basically manufacturing is done through industry. The maximum thing of industry is manufacturing. Now industry based on different ways classified into three types mainly: raw materials, ownership and size. So ownership, based on ownership, industries are classified into private industry, public industry, joint sector industry and cooperative industry. So what are private industry? Where owner is individual. Owner of private industries are a group of individual or a set of individual or an individual or group of individual. Public, where government is owner, basically state government it might be, or it might be state government. They are the owners of industry, so they are known as public industry. Joint industries is basically where both individual or a group of individual and government both are owner of this industry. And cooperative, raw material suppliers are the owner of this industry. Raw material suppliers are the owner of this industry. Private, public, joint and cooperative. So based on ownership, they are these type of industries are classified based on ownership. Now coming to size, based on size, industries are classified into small based industry and heavy based industry. Small based industry, which the example of small based industries are cotton or cotton, or they are the small based industry. Similar cotton or textile, they are the examples of small based industry where raw materials and they can be started at their home even. If I cut it and give another like bamboo or any handmade woven, they are the examples of small based industries because they can be started at home or they need very small raw material, very few amount of labor. They don't need that much capital and raw materials. But heavy based industries are steel based industry, iron based industry or petroleum industry. So they are heavy based industry because they need capital, big capital, skilled labor and labor in numbers, infrastructure. You need to fulfill multiple things for heavy industries. Now after heavy industries, we are going to learn what are the factors for establishment of an industry. So factors for establishment of industries are factors. So there are different types of factors that play crucial for establishment of an industry. They are market, power, raw materials, labors, market, power, raw materials, labors, capital. So the main five and another is infrastructure. What if any industry, after producing goods, industry needs to be sent to market, so market should be available near to the factory or where the industry is set up. You need heavy power for industrial activity. Without power you cannot run industry, so you need to have good supply of power. Raw materials should be there. If industry does not have raw materials, so it cannot be situated in that particular place. Labor should be available for the industry, and capital should be there. That industry depends on capital also. Infrastructure, After for raw material going into the factory and final product going to the market, you need good port, transport, road. They need raw materials are also needed. Okay, so now industrial system works in three types, like computer process. Industrial system works on input, processing, process, and output. For example, cotton. For example, cotton inputs are cotton is needed. Then for it gets woven, process is done through woven, and then final product we get as shirt. And multiple processes are done before shirt we get the shirt we wear. Input we get raw materials as cotton, then labor, then expenditure or transport expenditure on it for taking the material into the industrial place or home based. It may be small industry, that's why it can be situated at any at home also. So these three works are done. First you need input, then the process works goes on, then final product we get the final product. So as of now we learned that industry is basically producing human products with raw materials. So resources, in chapter we learned that what are resources. Now here we are learning that we make different products for our need, and industry makes the work. For example, paper is also an example of industry, because in paper first you get raw material as bamboo, then after paper, after different process, input, process and output, we get paper and notebook as the final product. So industrial is very much needed in our world and country. For development of the country, industry is very much needed. Okay, so then we learned that industries or what are raw material. Based on the different types, industries are classified: raw materials, ownership and size. Raw materials, based on raw material, industries are classified into agro-based and mineral-based. Based on ownership, private, public, joint sector and cooperative. You can get example of each of the industry: private, public, joint, cooperative. Now size, small based and heavy based industry. As you know that small based industries can be done or situated at any place. It can be started at home, but heavy industries needs big amount of land. So here we have to know that land is also needed. For big amount of heavy industries, land is also needed. So factors should be fulfilling for establishment of an industry: market, power, raw materials, labors, capital, infrastructure should be there for establishment of an industry. Then the industrial system. Industrial system basically the sum of the portion we discuss: input, processing and output. In this way industrial system works. First we have, for example, in cotton we say raw materials we need, then that is woven, stitching, gleaning, then we get the final product as such. So now the last one we are discussing is industrial safety. So this is very much important. Industrial safety, you must have learnt at your textbook that in 1984 Bhopal MIG chemical was sprayed because of mismatch of industrial activity, and it caused havoc to the city. Even our the coming generation are also becoming disabled because of the industrial activity. So industrial safety should be utmost important. No matter what, we need our human product, but if safety is not there, there remains nothing. So we should not compromise on safety. So any industry that should not be that is very much toxic, that can be toxic, should not be started. There should be some safety measures. All safety measures should be started. Populated areas in populated areas industrial activity should not be happen. Okay, there should be proper zone should be there, industrial zone should be there, where the industrial activity can be done. So we have to adhere to the all the safety and norms for industrial activity. So if you have any query, you can ask me in the comment section, and read your textbook. After going through this video, read your textbook so that you will be able to understand what I just taught you. Okay, so if you have any doubt, you can ask me on the comment section. As of now, we are done. Revise what I just taught you.